That's my intro music. Don't like it? Tough. Welcome to Calling It Like It Is. This is still early on in the podcast development phase, so I don't know what I'm doing really. All I know is hit that like and subscribe button. Wait, that's not on a podcast. Somehow, if there's a button to hit that gets attention to the pod, hit it. Twitter handle is Like It Is 2000. At Like It Is 2000 on Twitter. Okay, anyways, we're doing the top 10 best/greatest All-Star weekend, All-Star Game weekend performers of all time. That's my opinion. And so it encompasses the entire weekend, not just the All-Star Game itself. But the All-Star Game itself does play a big part, because it is part of the weekend as well. But you know what's also part of the weekend? The day before the All-Star Game, which a lot of players just seem to not give a flying fuck about. So, here we go. Number 10. I'm going with Nate Robinson. Nate Robinson, 5'9" when he's wearing stilettos. Okay? Never made an All-Star team. But you know what? My boy, Nate Robinson from Seattle, was a 3-time dunk champion. The only 3-time dunk champion, by the way, in the history of the NBA. 5'9" with clogs on. 3-time dunk champion. Never made it to the All-Star Game. But sure as fuck competed in All-Star Weekend, in the All-Star Weekend. So Nate Robinson, number 10. Number 11, or number 9, I'm new at this. Number 9, also in the same vein as Nate Robinson, but he did make the All-Star team 8 times, played in 7 of them. Not a high point average for his 7 times playing in the All-Star Game. Below 20, it's in like the low teens. But he's number 9 because of his 2000 dunk contest. Revitalized the game in a way. That'd be Vince Carter, of course. 2000 dunk champion, best dunk not contest of all time, but the best dunker in a contest of all time. He only did it once, but you know what? He did it. And he also was voted to the All-Star Game 8 times, played in 7. So yeah, Vince Carter at number 9. Who do we have at number 8? We're going to go with Russell Westbrook. That's right. My boy Westbrook has been to the All-Star Game 9 times, played in all 9 of them, or has been voted in 9 times, played in all 9 of them. Average of 21.5 points a game. He scored 41 points in an All-Star Game twice, and was a 2-time All-Star Game MVP. So why is he just 8? 2-time MVP, 41 points a game in a game twice, 2 separate times in the All-Star Game? Well, like a few on this list, you'll know why he's only number 8, and you'll really know why the person at number 7 is only number 7, because they never competed in the day before the All-Star Game, and that is the downfall of the NBA. They make way too much money, and what's the incentive for them to be in a dunk contest? And that's why Westbrook's at number 8 and not a little bit higher, because he was awesome in the All-Star Game. He gave it his all. I just can't believe that he never fucking was in a dunk contest. What the fuck? In all of the tragedies in NBA lore, Westbrook not being in the dunk contest has to be right up there. My God. Who didn't make that happen? Well, I'll tell you who didn't make that happen. Westbrook, because it's obviously up to Westbrook. If he wanted to be in the dunk contest, he'd be in it. And he didn't fucking do it. Very surprising to me, because he plays his heart out all the time. As you know, Westbrook's a fucking dog. But he never was in the dunk contest, so fuck him. And the biggest fuck you of all is so yeah, that's Westbrook. Number 8 is number 7, LeBron James. LeBron James, 21 All-Star games, and assuming that he plays Sunday, that he will have played in all 21 of his All-Star games. Quite amazing, averaging 21.7 points per game, with his high being 36 in a game in the All-Star game. And he's a 3-time All-Star Game MVP. 21 times All-Star Game, playing in the All-Star Game. 21 different times. 21 different years. 3-time MVP of the All-Star Game. Why isn't he higher than 7? My God, the man's number 1 in just about every single category the NBA has to offer. Well, just like Westbrook, the motherfucker never was in the dunk contest, and that's the biggest NBA tragedy of all time. Can you imagine 2011 Westbrook versus James in the dunk contest? Hey, NBA, do you want to get your ratings a little higher? Do you want to be relevant? Do you want to make a splash? Well, guess what? Just trading people by the trade deadline, it makes big news stories, but you know what? No one gives a shit in 5 days. Luka Doncic is on the Lakers. Okay, fine, I'm over it. Jimmy Butler's on the Warriors. I'm over it. Anthony Davis went to the Mavericks and is now hurt. I'm over it. I don't care anymore. Basketball's still boring. The fact that LeBron and Westbrook never faced off in a dunk contest is absolutely criminal. And the fact that neither one of them ever was in a dunk contest, much less matched up against each other, is borderline. Should be life in prison. Throw away the key. But I do got to give it to LeBron that he was in there 21 times if he plays this Sunday. And again, averaging almost 22 points a game, maxed out at 36 points for a game, and a 3-time All-Star MVP. But the motherfucker never was in a dunk contest. Unbelievable. Him and Westbrook, just ridiculous. Okay, so let's go on to number 6. Number 6, we've got Magic Johnson, and he's in there just because he was fun in the All-Star game. He also was a 2-time All-Star game MVP. He was just fun. He got voted in 12 times, played in 11 All-Star games. Averaged over 11 assists a game. He was just fun. He was flashy. He brought the Showtime Lakers to the All-Star game, had 25 assists in one of the All-Star games, averaged 16 points. But it was just more about, the NBA was fun then with the Showtime Lakers. And when Magic Johnson was in the All-Star game, he brought that flair to the All-Star game. So he's number 6 for sure. And number 5 is Dr. J. I'm only counting his NBA years, and this goes for everything, for all the All-Stars. It's post-merger. I should have said that from the beginning. Post-merger, because that's when the NBA started. Nothing else has changed. Really, for a big, huge altering change, like the playoff structure's changed a bit, but there hasn't been a huge altering structure change since the NBA-ABA merger. So before that, I'm not counting anything. And that includes when I go into upcoming top 10 lists of greatest players of all time. Because guess what? Bill Russell is not going to be on there. That was a whole different game. 8 teams. There were 8 teams in the league. That's why Wilt Chamberlain's not going to be on there. Yeah. If I put a fucking, let's all the players today, whatever. If you put a 15-foot guy in the league and just threw it would be unfair. You'd have to call it a different game. It would just be a different thing. If you put a superhero that could fly into the game now, you'd have to call it a different game. You'd have to go, oh yeah, we all stats post the guy that could fly, actually fly, a superhero. So Wilt Chamberlain being in the league was just unfair. I mean, it was a high schooler playing against elementary school kids. So you can't count that. It's stupid to me why people do. Anyways, that has nothing to do with the dunk contest. So anyways, number 5 is Dr. J, and that is post all of his ABA stuff. If you include the ABA, he made it the All-Star game 16 times. But just post ABA, he made the All-Star game 11 times, averaged over 20 points, had a game with 34 points, was his high point mark in a game. And he was a 2-time All-Star Game MVP post the ABA. And why else? Well, I'm going to cheat a little bit here. Because just the year before, he won the dunk contest. And that foul line dunk kind of amped things up a bit. Amped up the merger. This is going to be fun. There's a lot of skill in the ABA. That was a great dunk. It juiced up the merger. People were stoked. People were stoked for the NBA and the ABA merging. So Dr. J, Julius Erving, gets my number 5 spot. Number 4, and remember this is All-Star Game weekend. So number 4 is Dominique Wilkins, who was voted in 9 times, played in 8 games, averaged only 13.3 points a game with a high of 29. But we know it's not about that. It's about his 5-time participation in the dunk contest, beating Jordan in 1985, I believe it was, and a 2-time winner of the dunk contest. So more than half the years that he was voted in to the All-Star game, he participated in the dunk contest. So absolutely, 100%. Number 4 goes to Dominique Wilkins. Number 3, just for the longevity, and you got to give it up for the 4-time All-Star game MVP. Averaged 19.3 points a game. High score game in the All-Star game of 37 points. Kobe Bryant at number 3. And why is he in there? And why is he above Bron? Well, guess what? It might not have been much, but my boy Kobe did participate in the dunk contest. 1 time, rookie year, I believe, but you know what? He did it like a man and not a pussy like Westbrook and Bron, who, what, are afraid that they were going to lose the dunk contest? Guys, shut the fuck up and dunk. Jesus Christ. Making hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Can you let the fans see you dunk in a contest? Jesus. Well, Kobe did once. And that's why he gets the number 3 nod for top 10 best All-Star weekend performers of all time. Number 2, who's it going to be? It's between 2 players, I'm sure you know. Number 2 is, and this was actually kind of tough for me. Number 2 is Steph Curry. Steph Curry voted in 11 times. He has played in 9. Assuming he plays this Sunday, he will have played in 9 of the All-Star games. But voted in 11 times. Couldn't make it a couple times for injury. Averages 21.7 points per game in those 9 games he's played. Topped out at 50 points in a game. was the MVP of the All-Star game one time, had 16 three-pointers in an All-Star game. 16 three-pointers in one All-Star game. That is enough right there to put him on the list. But the reason he's number 2 is because he's a 2-time winner of the three-point contest. He actually participates in the weekend, the All-Star Game weekend. Yeah, that's what all players should do. You make enough money, don't you? Jesus Christ. Do you make enough money? How much more money do you need? Fuck. But you know what? I'm not yelling at Curry, because he competed. And he won 2 three-point championships. And you know what? What else? He competed in a third one against Sabrina Ionescu, and it was fucking close. That's putting your fucking balls on the line. That is putting your fucking balls on the line. Not if you lose a dunk contest against another great dunker, but if you lose to a chick. If you lose to a chick, that is okay. I can understand. Fuck. I'm the greatest, considered the greatest am the greatest three-point shooter of all time, and I just lost to a chick in the WNBA. Oh, fuck. National TV. Oh, fuck. That's gonna stink. Well, you know what? It was a great fucking competition, and he had to nail his last 2 racks to fucking beat her. She would have won the three-point competition. If Curry didn't compete in that year's three-point competition. It was a separate thing. But if she was in the three-point competition that year, she would have won, most likely. But this was a separate thing held after the real three-point competition, just between Curry and Ionescu, and he won. So he's really a 3-time three-point champion. And that was awesome. Brought a lot of attention to the game. So Steph Curry is an all-star weekend performer. Absolutely, 100%. Again, some of his numbers, 21.7 points per game average. Topped out at 50 points in one game. Had 16 threes in a game. And won the All-Star Game MVP one time. And a 3-time three-point contest winner. Steph Curry, number 2. So that leaves number 1. Who's it going to be? We all know. Peja Stojakovic. My boy Peja I'm just kidding. Michael Jordan, of course. Voted the All-Star Game 14 times, played in 13 because he was injured in his second year. Otherwise, he would have made or played in all the All-Star games that he was voted into. Obviously. 14-time All-Star. 13 times he played. What's the other stat about that? Oh, he's the other guy that I believe it's Jerry West is the only guy who's, if you look up their stats, was an All-Star every single year of his career. The only reason Jordan wasn't is because when he came back the year after he was playing baseball, he came back for 17 games. The All-Star game already was over, so people thought he was still retired. So of course he didn't get voted into the All-Star game. It was done. It was done with. He came back after the All-Star game had been played. So Michael Jordan technically would have been an All-Star every single year that he played the game. But also technically not. Anyways, let's get to some of his stats. He averaged 20.1 points per game. He scored 40 points, was his top watermark. 3-time All-Star Game MVP. And again, the reason he's number 1 is because he gave a shit and actually played All-Star Game weekend. He gave a shit about the weekend. Was in the dunk contest 3 times, won it twice. Some of the most iconic dunk contests there have been between him and Dominique, of course. He won one. Dominique won one. Anyways, he participated. And he's Michael Jordan. That's really all you got to say about that. I just watched some highlights of just him, even in his Washington days. He gave a shit, and it was fun to watch. It was fun to watch. And then I have a honorable mention, and this is the like did you have a good time? It's my worst All-Star game performer so far, at least. I'm sure there's been worse, but I don't know. I'm just going off recency bias, obviously playing a part here, but from last year's NBA game or NBA All-Star game, I'm giving the and the potential of the player the worst of all time All-Star game performer. Do you have a guess of who it might be? Well, if you said Anthony Edwards, you got it. Worst of all time. Whoat. He's been to 2 All-Star games. Wasn't elected to this All-Star game, I don't think. But I'm just going off of last year's All-Star game. There was a lot of talk in the media about, why do we even have the All-Star game? It's so lame, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? The most exciting player in the league who can jump out of the stadium, who everyone says is America's next face of the league, Anthony Edwards. This was a big time for him. Big time to shine and, have some fun. You make enough money, don't you? Can we get a little flash? Fuck. Had 4 points in the game, and if you saw last year's All-Star game, he could have given a fucking shit. He didn't fucking care at all to be out there. Phoned it in like I've never seen. Fuck you, Anthony Edwards. That was a piece of shit All-Star performance. So, worst of all time All-Star performer, Anthony Edwards. So, let's just go through it again real quick. Number 10, Nate Robinson. Number 9, Vince Carter. Number 8, Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook. Number 7, LeBron James. Number 6, Magic Johnson. Number 5, Dr. J. Number 4, Dominique Wilkins. Number 5, Kobe Bryant. Number 2, Steph Curry. And number 1, His Airness, of course, the greatest player of all time and the best All-Star performer of all time, Michael Jordan. There we have it. Your top 10 best All-Star weekend performers of all time. All right. If you have any, if you disagree at all with any of that, or any of the order in which they are in, feel free to ream me a new one at LikeItIs2000 on Twitter. Okay, until next time, whatever.